So, thanks everybody for joining. My name is Chris Walker. I am the founder of URBANIME. URBANIME is a urban lifestyle comic book company. We're really focused on empowering Black and Brown audiences through story and telling stories that help connect the culture. I'm very happy to have an amazing group of panelists here to do just that as we talk about the intersection of music and comic books. As the name says, with Urban Anime, it's really inspired by urban culture, animation, anime, and I think to say that as Black creators that we aren't listening to music and being inspired as we're making all the work that we do, I think that's impossible. And at the same time, being in this space, I think you meet a lot of musical artists who say the same things, right? Like they talk about how much music has inspired them and how it helps them to create. So, as part of Virtuous Con and as part of Black Music Month, we thought this would be an amazing conversation to have. So, I'm gonna introduce the great panelists that we have here. So, N. Stephen Harris is really a longtime friend of mine. So,
Yeah,
to keep it real, I've probably known you at this point, what, almost 20 years, I
more.
think.
Yeah, we go back to 97, 98, man.
Yeah, when
Like
I
that.
like stumbled into the studio,
Yeah.
all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, didn't know how to use Photoshop yet, but I didn't know
Neither
I
did I.
could.
Yeah.
And so Steven's really, to go through the list of accomplishments, he's a two-time Eisner nominated, four-time Glyph Award winning artist. He has his work in the Virginia Library and the VLA, the Virginia Library Association of Graphic Novel Diversity. You may know him from Watson and Holmes. Um, and that book was a two-time Glyph Award-winning book as well. He is also known for, how do I pronounce it, Stephen? I don't want to mispronounce the name of your
uh,
series.
Ajala.
Ajala,
Yeah, that's
and
his leg
original,
there.
yeah. So original creator-owned series. And then one of the things that when I first met him that I bugged him about was Aztec Man, or Aztec the Ultimate Man. And as
Yeah.
Stephen knows, like, sorry if there's I'm in New
Yeah,
York,
it's
so
New
NYC,
York,
man.
baby.
New York. You know.
this is real. And the crazy thing is not even anything crazy. It's just I'm on a thoroughfare.
They're getting
Um,
donuts.
yeah, they get donuts. Seriously. Um, and so Aztec Man, Steven was the penciler on that, as well as Deadpool, Batman, and Robin, Voltron, as well as currently Michael Cray. Before the ambulance, I was saying that I used to bug him when I found out that he drew Aztec Man because it's like one of my favorite comic book series of all times, and I love the artwork. But to keep
Appreciate
it
you, man.
going, so that no problem, so that everybody can have time to chat. Shawna Mills, I've known, whew, Lord, what, almost a decade, not quite, but we worked on an animation project together.
You knew
And
me before I could even I was legal to drink. I think
yeah,
back then, right?
yeah,
They wouldn't let
yeah,
me in the bars for the
I remember. And so just remember like being introduced to her, incredibly talented work, just always blown away by the things that you do. So just to give a little bit of shout outs to your story and your work. So you're a story artist, director, and designer in animation. You've been doing it professionally since 2008. You worked on a lot of amazing shows from Black Dynamite to Hulk Agents of Smash, uh, Randy Cunningham, Ninth Grade Ninja, Ultimate Spider Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, the list goes on.
Right.
Star Wars Rebels, Invader Zim, Rise of TMNT. And so you are currently a LA based artist, and it's amazing to see your career having met you when you were just starting to do your thing, and then you went out to the West Coast, and I was like, whoa, she just like blew up. Uh, so next up, We have Ninja Nycist, who is an incredible recording artist. Uh,
Stop.
seriously, we just recently did an event together to celebrate Black Music Month, where we had a live music set. Oh, thank you, LA, you just saved me.
That put the shrubbery behind it.
So the true moderator is here. I introduced Shawna and Steven. I am happy to pass the mic over to you so I can stop stumbling over words. But next, I'll pass it to LA so that he can introduce Ninja.
Audio.
Audio. We can't hear you, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Forgive the technical difficulties. First, my disclaimer. I actually had a dress shirt pulled out and everything for this panel. And then I realized that here in New York City, I know we have people from all over, but in New York City, Tuesday is the last day to vote. And so I decided to go with the message t-shirt. So everybody, if you're in New York,
Oh, the bill.
make sure that
Oh,
you vote. I'm just a Bill. Yes, I'm only a Bill. I'm also a law. Those are my initials. I am L.A. Williams. I work for the Apollo Theater. For more information, apollotheaters.org. And I also produce a radio show called The Harlem Connection, which can be heard on WBAI, WBAI.org on Friday nights, Eastern Time, 10 to midnight. And I used to be a comic book editor. And when people find out what I do now, they're often surprised that I used to do comic books and they don't quite make the connection. They don't see it as a linear connection. So I was happy to be asked to moderate this panel so that we could talk about the connection between arts and comics. So Chris Walker started introducing the panel, and I pretty much heard you introduce yourself, Chris. I heard you introduce Steve. I heard you introduce Ninja Nycist. I think I heard you introduce Shawna. And did Jordan get introduced?
not yet. Nope. She's waiting there patiently.
Okay, Jordan Dinwiddie is a copywriter for, is it pronounced Whedon Kennedy? Whedon Kennedy, Portland?
Wyden and
Kennedy, Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Wyden and Kennedy. I apologize, but I do know that you can read her biweekly Substack, which is The Fangirl. All right. Now, everybody should have heard by now that the panel is combined. It's a panel of writers and musicians and artists. So my first question for the artists and the writers, how has music inspired your work? And for the writers and musicians, how have comic books inspired your work? So we're going to start with Chris, because Chris, A, you took over as moderator, so thank you for that. And B, your work has included stints at Marvel and DC Comics. So you've illustrated for, they've been some of your illustration clients. So please tell us, how has music inspired your work?
Definitely, and thanks. I'm so happy that you're moderating. So, I think it's always inspired it. I go all the way back to the Voltron Sprite ad campaign, and that was like pretty much the end for me, because I was like, oh, you can do that, and Commons like rhyming in the Green Lion, and who it was, Africa Bambaataa in the Black Lion. So that just like blew my mind. I think, like most artists, I like to have music on when I work. I think music helps you to find a zone. There's all sorts of research and science behind the things that happen in the brain. And then I was really obsessed with hip hop, so I did stints doing album covers and artwork in the music industry as well, working with Guru, Rest in Power. We did some stuff with D12, with Scam. So it's one of those things where it's like two of my biggest passions, and it just naturally came together.
Thank you very much on that. Shawna, as was mentioned, you are a professional storyteller, and you've done work with Black Dynamite and animated music videos for projects featuring J. Cole and MC Frontland.
Front a
Oh,
lot.
sorry, MC Front a lot. I apologize. Front a lot. So, same question for you. How has music inspired the work that you do?
So I guess I can, like Chris, go way back and think about like the first time I realized it had like a huge impact on me and my soul. And it was like when I first saw the Gorillas music video, and I remember I couldn't sit down. And it just made me want to draw. It just made me want to like create something. And I guess from then on, I kind of noticed the 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 heavy, like the muse basically that comes from it. Um, Whenever I would draw, or actually whenever I would walk down the street in New York, I began to visualize all the beautiful images, like the things that I would later draw. It actually made me see my own city differently. Um, so yes, music definitely inspired me and made me a different person. I'm kind of a loner, so it was kind of like one of those things that kind of opened up the world to me. And then when I got back to my drawing table or my pen and pad, I was able to put all of the inspiration that I felt in my life on paper, and all the passion I felt for it.
I appreciate. Okay, I'm at a loss here because I can't see Jordan. Is Jordan with us?
Yes, she's
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm sure. I just on my screen I don't see. Okay, so Jordan is a copywriter, and next question is coming up for you. Jordan loves supporting Black women, being a nerd, and telling stories about the combination of the two. And I see there's a what looks like a music connection to me because you've been listed as BET's 25 most influential people in sneakers and covered by Complex Magazine, which is a hip hop arts culture magazine. So my question for you, we're laughing behind the scenes because we know that the what the why she was covered in Complex. But Jordan, my question is, what do you see as the intersection of comics and music and writing, and how do they all come together as far as you're concerned?
I mean, as far as my concern, I think uh, it's all cultural, right? Like music is a driving force behind culture. When I think about like the Static Shock intro, right? Like with like Lil Romeo, like rapping it, which was very pleasing to my 8-year-old ears at the time. Um, no, I think that it's always going to be a reflection of culture, and I think that's how at least I try to use it. Um, when I write, I always like I like make a playlist for like my characters. So like in the sneakers app, there's a comic book in it right now called MARISOLE that I creative directed. I literally wrote like what does she listen to, and it's like Bad Bunny, uh, Megan Thee Stallion, and like Uzi Vert. It's like the biggest. I was like, what's the most Gen Z shit I could think about? And then things like that's kind of I use that filter to help like create her character. I did not answer your question, but there you go.
You did. You said that it's all culture and it's all related.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think that that's an important point to make because sometimes uh, in our society, I think in American society, I think we like to have everything in these little boxes that you like hip hop. And then if it turns out that I like a country western song, people are like, wait, what? I thought you liked hip hop. It's like, no, I like music. And they're all connected as opposed to necessarily putting everything in one neat little frame. So I definitely appreciated your answer. I'm coming up to NENJAH NYCIST.
What's going on?
I am told that your pen game is just as lethal as your production skills, and that's what I'm told. I'm also told that you are working on a project that ties into today's conversation because it's essentially a bundle of all of them. It's an original comic book plus a self-produced album plus a documentary, because if it were just a comic book, and an album, that wouldn't be enough, would it? So we've got a documentary in there too. Are you willing and able to tell our audience a little bit about what it's like to intertwine so many disciplines? And did I spill the beans about talking about the project? Like, was I not supposed to announce that yet? Or, it's too late. It's too late. Everybody knows it's going to happen now.
Tell the whole world,
it's out there.
please.
Buy it.
Yeah, right. No,
buy
but
it.
I think that the intersection, for me personally, like growing up, my dad always used to take me to the comic book shop, and he would kind of lean. There weren't a lot of black superheroes, but we would always lean to like Spawn, because Spawn was the black guy. Of course, he's from hell, but he's black. You know what I'm saying? So, we'd be bumping like DMX, and it seems I feel like I'm setting a real dark picture, but it was good times.
Actually, what I was thinking was that I could see almost the connection between Spawn having to come from hell and DMX used hell in his music all the time. So
right, boom. So it was always connected for me, and like you look at Outkast, they had really animated covers and things like that. So the artists, they go hand in hand. So like me personally, I just tried to create a high ticket item, some high art for my super fans, people that really appreciate that kind of.
So when is this coming out, Ninja?
So it's called 777, and obviously it has to come out on 7/7. So it's coming out 7th of July.
That's a copy. And how can folks cop it?
Welcome to 777.com. I can watch the trailer.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Nice.
All right. Next up is Ends. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, good. Because the question is for you, Mr. Harris.
Wow.
So I know that. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I was always told to respect my elders, sir. So I was calling you Mr. Harris.
You stop. You got me, man.
Okay. For those who don't know, Steve and I have known each other for a long time, and I'll just leave it at that. So Steve,
yeah,
I know you've worked on Watson and Holmes. You've worked on Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I know you're a music lover, right? So first off, I'm assuming that when you're creating, when you're at the drawing board, you have a soundtrack playing in the background. First question is my assumption correct?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a struggle for me, because sometimes I'm caught up wanting to listen to news and current events and what's going on, and then I'm not. But I do want to listen to music. And I do listen to music in the background too. So it's a split. And when I listen to music, it's usually house music. So I'm listening to some Tony Humphries mix, some Natasha Diggs on Instagram, some Louis Vega mixes on YouTube. It runs the gamut. And coming up in college, I was not the one like other guys in college. In college, it was always the guys that were in the art. I went to art school of visual arts. So it was always brothers that were there that were into music and into art. I was just into art. But I will be in the clubs. I've been in the clubs since I was in high school. Going to parties, and we came up in the time of 18 to party, 21 to drink. And so those are the clubs I went to coming up. And even we had teeny bopping clubs. So it was when I wasn't drawing, I was probably outside and hanging out. If not in the comic book store, I was in the weekends. I was in the club somewhere dancing. And I'm still doing.
Copy that. That's right. So now, Steve, here's my question. I know that you just said you listen to house music a lot when you're creating, when you're not listening to the news. We're not going to get into the news because this is a comic and music panel. So we're going to skip that whole news part, although you should vote.
Yeah, please
now,
do.
my question is, So do you flip it depending on what you're working on? In other words, if you're drawing Deadpool, which he's a ninja assassin, wisecracking superhero or super character, right? Do you have a different soundtrack on the background than you would if you were doing like Ajala or something else?
No, it's just how I feel. Sometimes it will be hip hop. Sometimes it will be house music. I mean, it depends. Usually it's house music, but sometimes I will flip it to a DJ that will mix it up with hip hop and um, other music. Um, but there's no conscious soundtrack in my part. It's just put the music on and let me run.
Copy. Okay, so that was the question for Steve, but now I'm going to throw it to everybody. For those of you on the panel who listen to music when you're either doing your storyboards or you're writing your blogs or well, I mean, Ninja, in your case, I guess when you're producing beats, it's kind of hard to listen to something else. But for those of you guys who do have a playlist or what have you, who has the best playlist? Who's got the dopest playlist? What's on it? It's a battle of the playlist. It's a battle of the music for all the panelists. Come on, hit if you think you listen to the fire stuff, this is your chance. Tell me.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll say someone. I know there's an artist named Monique Bingham. She's dope.
I am a fan of Monique Bingham,
Yeah,
who
we have
we've known for a long time as well.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend that knows her too.
Yes. So
Yeah.
dope artists. Dope artists. Okay. All right. So Steve was brave enough to go out there. Or anybody else? Who y'all feeling when you're creating? Chris, I'll go to you.
For me, I think it's like what you're doing at the time. So I have different music depending on the work. So if I'm writing, I definitely have playlists. If I'm drawing, I have playlists, especially colors. If I'm doing strategy in particular, so when I'm writing, it either needs to be quiet or I have a writings group playlist that's like Erica Badu, and it's just a bunch of really dope Erica Badu songs, especially during that period of time where she was collaborating with a lot of the jazz musicians who were doing a lot of the 70s work. So that stuff puts me in a really deep writing groove. There's some old Dre on there, back when it was still a little bit more boom bap, or kind of that era before he was in now. Um, I really, and I don't know how artists feel about Spotify. So Ninja, you have to let me know. But one of the things that I do like about Spotify is they've gotten very good at list, and I know with you as a lo-fi person, it's like the amount of lo-fi playlists that you can get on Spotify, going from lo-fi hip hop to jazz to house, it just puts me in a really good zone. And then when I'm doing strategy work, I really like something that's got a little bit of beat that gets me excited. So when I'm whiteboarding and thinking through things, and one group I wanted to mention, if you haven't heard of them, is Abstract Orchestra. So they're like a big band out of the UK that plays a lot of Jay Dilla and a lot of samples, but they play it as a band. So if you can imagine the syncopation of hip hop and the samples, but replayed by a band, but not like over interpreting it. Like, what was that jazz series that came out? It was like they would reinterpret the hip hop tracks. It was like Hidden Beach. It's not like Hidden Beach. It's like, it'll blow your mind.
I check that out.
Is there anybody else who feels like they got a killer playlist or strategy that wants to dive into this? If not, I'll move on to the next one.
I mean, I could say.
Oh no, you go. You go.
Well, I mean, I don't know if my playlist is badass or anything. I would say it's just diverse, but I like to listen, and I always do it according to like my mood. That's the way I listen to music. But I really love classical music. I love a lot of like experimental stuff sometimes depending on what I'm doing too. Like if I'm trying to give my character some soul, I'll listen to something that like sounds like what the character would listen to. So I would design, and it actually helps. It helps me flesh out the character. But yeah, I don't know like artists by heart. I'm really bad at that. I can like point to a song and be like, "That's my favorite song," but I don't know the artist. So
Copy that, Jordan.
I mean, I'm from Chicago, so like like Steven, I'm a house baby myself.
House music all night long. House music
But
all night long, right?
but not all night long, but a good section of the day. No, when I write, I've been really into writing to like OG Ron C's like chopped up, not slopped up versions of like R&B records right now. I think that's kind of the vibe that I'm in while I'm writing, but or like Flying Lotus.
I know one time I had to be careful of listening to a certain group because they had me wanting to go out in the streets of Bushwick and rob somebody. That was Mobb Deep.
Yeah,
I got mad amped and I was like, yo. I was like, yeah, someone's about to catch it.
Yeah. I also listen to a lot of songs about gunplay.
Yeah,
so.
late 90s movie, late 90s hip hop. You gotta be careful. You can't just like turn that on at any moment. You gotta be you gotta know who you are. You gotta meditate before you do it.
Yeah.
And just go
See, that's why I listen to classical and bossa nova, because I know that part of me is gonna be violent if I keep like listening. News and all that.
I will listen to Dirk and Pooh Shiesty so fast, and I'd be like, bro, this is the wrong vibe, and I'm gonna go smack. And like I'm in Portland, I'm gonna go punch the first white person I see.
LA, you know my wife, and
You're embracing it.
She heard Annie Up, and but she heard it on with the Muppets. The same system.
Right.
It gets her amped up. My mom.
Oh yeah, that's fire.
You can't listen to it any other time. You gotta be careful.
I mean, we're going.
Yeah,
there,
listen.
like,
If anybody doesn't, if anyone doesn't know that, Google that.
You try to work and have Mobb Deep on in the background. Next thing you know, you like suited up. You got them all black. You like, why am I outside? Why is this person in my hand?
And you come back and say, where did I just draw?
So Ninja. So since you are a music maker, like what are you hearing that, I mean, because I think I would assume part of the trick of it is, okay, you got to listen to something that is inspiring, but not so inspiring that you end up going down their route instead of your own creative route.
Right.
Who are you listening to these days that is giving you inspiration, that's making you be like, okay, I got to step up to that level?
I listen to a lot of people, and I'm like, I'm a person that's like, I don't really compete with anybody. I kind of just compete against myself. Therefore, it just takes all of the strain off of, you know, who's who and who's what. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I do, like, kind of the flip of that, instead of like listening, I like watch. So like when I'm in the dojo, which is my recording studio, I would have like, I have a screen right here. So I'd have like anime playing while I'm writing or producing and stuff. So like I just finished watching Castlevania, and so I had that on, and you know, like you just kind of get ideas. You know, you see swords flying and you know, demons being killed and stuff like that. So like it's inspiration. I always have like kung fu and stuff like that playing in the background. So I have it on mute, but it's still like the animation that really kind of fuels all of the vibes.
That's a copy. Okay. Next question is going up for everyone. So I'll figure out who I'm going to ask it to first, unless it's somebody brave who wants to do it first. But my question is this. So we're kids, right? And as kids, we're all consumers. You know, you watch cartoons, you read magazines, you read comic books, you listen to music, right? At a certain point, I'm sure it clicked in everyone's head. Wait a minute, but I could do that. Like, I don't just have to be the consumer. I could actually be the creator. I'm curious for each of you, at what point did you realize you could do what you're doing now on a professional level? That you, the point that you said, you know what, instead of just checking this out for fun, like that could be me behind the scenes. Okay, who wants it first?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, working in advertising, you don't see Black people in in advertising, right? You just see Don Draper and the rest of those white people from the 60s. Okay. um I fell into it, but I think the moment that I realized that like people had jobs like making commercials and like what went into it, like picking all the music that goes on and picking the director, all the like production fun stuff. Um, I think I was like, I think I had the job when I realized it. If that makes sense. Like I was like, oh wait, like I can. Oh, this is like a real job. Like you actually want me to do this. Like this is a real job. So like yeah, now go do it.
Wait. Rewind selected. How did you even get the job before if you didn't know that
Um,
you could do the job? Like walk me
I
through it.
I was a so I had so the Tumblr that made the list in 2012 was Tacky Beyonce because Beyonce is a lot of things she cannot dress. So I made a visual representation of that. Um, somebody saw it at Wide and they thought it was really funny. They asked me to come and be a strategy intern, and I ended up having to write like social copy for it, like the YouTube description, like this is what the tweet's gonna go out with, like a Kevin Durant commercial. And my creative director now was like, these are really funny. Now you're gonna write the commercials. I'm gonna teach you how to write these commercials instead. And then now I'm making comic books and in apps and stuff.
Wow.
Love it.
Copy that. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go to Ninja. How did you? At what point did you realize you could be a producer?
I mean, you could turn on the radio and you probably feel like, I could be a producer or I could be a rapper. So I think when I was younger, it was more like people were like responding to the things I was saying and responding to the things I was making. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to be here. So that's why kind of like when people be like, yo, you ready? You ready? And I'm just like, oh, I'm here. It's not something that I have to force. So I think I was probably like, I want to say like 17 or 18. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. And that's just the end of it. I had a whole bunch of other jobs, like trying to make coffee and like, work at a camp, and they never worked out. I always would get fired from them simply because, it wasn't aligning with what I was trying to do. I'm finally in the studio full time where I need to be. Yeah, it's really just, I just knew I had to do it. No excuses.
Steve, same question. You grow up, you're reading comics, you're seeing art everywhere. When did you say to yourself, wait, because this is what I'm assuming, and by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming first you're a kid, you see art, you see comics, you're like, oh, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Then you start drawing, and people go, oh, that's good. But at what point? How old were you? What happened when you said, wait a minute, I could actually do this for a living? Like I could pay the bills and not have to like go to an office every day. Like how did that click for you?
That clicked when I was in high school, but I was always drawing. I was always drawing. I was drawing these one big battle scenes of space battles, my favorite cartoons. And I wanted to draw. I wanted to tell a story with my work. So I transitioned from that to draw my own comic when I was in high school, going into high school. But it didn't dawn on me that I could do this for a living until my sophomore or junior year in high school, while I was looking for colleges to go to. So that's when it dawned on me at 16, 17.
Copy. Shawna, so you're a professional story artist. You've worked on all this animation. I'm assuming the same thing is true, that you watch cartoons and stuff. At what point did you say I could do this myself, full time, professionally?
From birth. No, I'm just kidding. Basically watching cartoons, and I never felt like I couldn't do it. So I guess from birth. But no, seriously, I would just watch it, and I just felt like I could do it. But when it came to the money thing, I didn't even know there was money involved in it.
Yeah.
But when I got into high school, I think that's when my teacher, Mr. Filardi, kind of introduced me into animation, and I hated it. It was tedious, but I ended up going to college for a little bit of it. But I think where when I realized like this is an actual career choice, yeah, I guess like Jordan, I was already in it. Cause actually, when I first got here, when I first got to, right before I got to California. But by then I was already in it because I had already done like music videos and stuff, and I was getting paid pretty much chump change to do the music videos. And I thought maybe that was it. That's all you get from that, and I was So it wasn't at first like the amount that would kind of inspire me to go into a career, but yeah. So as soon as right before I moved here.
And Chris, since you got to hear everyone else's answers, you had the most time to think. So I know your answer is going to be the best answer because you had the most time. So go.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll be the best, but I remember I was in high school and I went to a comic book convention just because I was into it. And my mom was like, hey, let's go to a convention, right? Like it seems to be your thing. And I don't even remember the artist, but I remember meeting an artist and broke down to me like drawing. And Steven, you'll probably know this, like the concentric circles to make shapes instead of just drawing like anatomy, right? Like he was like really into that process. And so I met him and someone else, and I was like, oh, you could actually do this for a living? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, bet. And then literally the next week in school, because I was a pretty good student, my B in math dropped to almost a D. Because I was like, I sure don't need this.
Dang.
Copy. Okay. My
Oh wait,
next question.
actually, I would like to
Yes.
revamp mines because it's meeting people like Chris Walker and Steven that I got to really understand that the career thing was a choice. So it was far before I actually moved to LA. You guys shaped me.
I remember seeing you at Anime Con, like back in the first Anime Con, Anime Festival in 2007.
Yeah, you guys were the ones that kept telling me like, you stupid, just do this, hurry up, make a comic book, make content.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I was just like,
Well,
just seeing your work, I was just blown away. I was like, you got to do this. You got to, it's like when you meet certain people, it's like the world needs you. Like the world needs
Hmm.
your voice.
Yeah, and Robert Garrett, late Robert Garrett, will always encourage you big time
Yeah,
episodes. Yeah.
he told me I was gonna be something.
that is really great that there's that kind of camaraderie because in some industries there's a whole lot of competition and jealousy and crabs in a barrel. So I'm glad that at least there are people on this panel who took the time to reach out to one another. So we all talked about work that you have done or that you are working on. I'm sorry, I see a raised finger. Do you, Shawna, was there something you wanted to say?
No, no, I didn't raise my
Okay,
my.
okay. I thought you were signaling me that you wanted to say something. Okay, we all talked about stuff that you have done and how you kind of got there. Now my question is future. Of course, you're completely satisfied with everything you've done so far, but if you could just kind of create the dream project for yourself that combines your passions, whether it's music or writing or animating or what have you, like what's the dream project that you haven't got to do yet that you would like to do? And I'm going to start with the nicest ninja.
Wow. I want to. All right, so the 777 idea came from an album, and then it kind of expanded on itself. So I'm looking at really making it into a franchise. I'm like, you're not supposed to like tell your ideas out prematurely, but I don't really care about that. So I'm thinking like, action figures, video games, all just complete franchise in movies, animes, shorts, whatever.
And is there somebody who you like to collaborate with, like, you know, where you're like, oh, if I got to work with so and so, that would be just so like, or do you want to do it all by yourself?
Nah, obviously. I mean, honestly, everyone on the panel I would love to, like, talk to and collaborate with a lot more, or just in general, just bounce ideas off of. But I definitely don't want to do it, by myself, because I won't have any dreads at the end of the year. I'll be pulling all my hair out. So I definitely, love collaborating. And yeah, I just think about it as, leaving a legacy for the grandkids, because, generations before didn't really think about, it was kind of survival mode, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really about what are my grandkids going to do. Yeah, that's just kind of, I'm a legacy guy, so that's where I'm at.
Okay. Jordan, same question.
I think just like on the last panel that I was on yesterday, I want to making this comic book for Jordan brand. I want to make my own shit. Like, I want to write comic books and live a happy life. I don't ask for
And
much.
do you have a dream collaborator in mind?
Honestly, I just like working with my friends. I like just like being like, you know what I mean? Like I like meeting new people and working with new people is always a strange thing. I don't really have like a dream collaboration. Actually, no. I would like to make a Megan Thee Stallion inspired manga. I said it.
That's a copy. I like that. Okay, Chris. In a certain way, I feel my guess is you've already worked on dream projects. I mean, you love music, you love comics, you get to do animation and drawings for Diddy and Eminem and the whole nine. Like, but what mountain do you still want to climb?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know at this point. I'm a big Gendy Tartakovsky fan. So when I moved to LA, I was there for a while. I wanted to be at Cartoon Network, and I actually knew the person who did the music. I think him. I'm a big Idris Elba fan. I like him a lot. I think John Boyega is doing some really just powerful stuff as a person in the spotlight who is being himself. So I think kind of in those things. But yeah, I consider myself blessed to have worked, with a lot of people and met a lot of the people that inspired me. One personal note is I got to work with Paul Smith, and I wasn't even
Really?
expecting it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't super comic book nerds, Paul Smith like had a really distinctive run in the X-Men comics back in the 80s, I believe,
Yep.
with helping to bring in the Brood and okay, legend in the field. Okay, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
So I did 4 issues and a bunch of trading cards, and I was like, bro, that's a wrap.
Paul Smith, the God.
Yes, sir. Okay, Shawna, what's up? Same question.
Yeah, no, I already have my list ready. There's a few actually. I don't know if you guys heard of like Cortland Illis. He's amazing. There is.
I'm sorry. I have not. I'm going to confess my ignorance. He's a writer. He's a singer. He's a dancer.
He is a character designer. He has gotten into storyboarding, and I'm afraid he's about to take jobs here, but nah, he's amazing. His style is awesome. And then there's another guy. I might say his name wrong. It's Michael Sebastian. He created like this an IP or like a franchise based off of the serial characters. It was like serial killers, and he made a game out of it all on his own. Like he's a phenomenal artist, and basically people like that I really want to work with one day, pretty soon actually. So yeah, him. There's a few artists that are like straight from Africa, like some areas there, and I really want to work with them. I don't want to butcher names, so I'm gonna try, but I'm gonna try to say like one part of his name. His name is Adrian. I don't know if I can like link him somehow. somewhere, but like you can totally go on my website and hit like Brew Crew, and you can see all the people that I want to work with. Because I collect people and I put them all on my website, so that even if you go onto my website, you'll see who I'm talking about. That's how much I want to work with
That's a
them.
copy.
Yeah.
I like that. You got to put it out there, make it happen. Steve, so let's see. I know you've done comic work where you're doing giant robots.
Mhm.
You've done ninjas. You've done black superheroine, teenage superhero. So, what mountain would you like to climb, and who would you love to collaborate with? Because you've worked with like some of the top friggin' names in the comic book industry. So, what's left for you? What's next for you?
Latif, there's no one else. There's no one else. I'm just joking. There's no one. I don't know, man. There's so many people out there, bro. I mean, right now I'm on a project right now, but I'm focused. I'm all I've been thinking about lately is working on my own projects. But I have a project in development with a writer net right now who some of us know, when you work with artists who some of us know. I don't want to mention it right now, but I worked with him before. I'll say it. I worked with him before on Voltron, Brandon Thomas, and I hope to work with him again on a project we're trying to develop. And it involves both of what we love, going back to anime, action, and just black folks doing cool stuff. So that's what I like doing.
So, Steve, for your own personal project that you talked about a collaboration, but for your own personal project, as I said, I mean, you've done so many different things. Like I'm thinking of the detective series, Watson and Holmes, and like I mean, it's just a lot of creators get kind of put into a typecast box. Oh, that's the guy who draws monsters, or that's the guy who rhymes about such and such, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have not been so. Artistically, what would you like to do that you've been like, I've never done that before? Like, would it be a witchcraft story, or because it's pretty much sci-fi and everything else you pretty much do?
I would have fun doing it, but I want to do. I have not done a sci-fi opera yet. I would like to do something like Star Wars. I want to draw some ships. I want to draw a fighter.
Copy that.
I love X-wing fighters and Y-wings. That's what I'm saying.
All right. And for my go right ahead.
Yeah, what Brandon and I were doing, actually, we did preview it. We previewed it in Noir is New Black. So that story that's in Noir is New Black, that anthology of black noir stories. That is a prelude to a story we want to do. So it's already been put out there, so I can say it.
Copy. Okay, according to my watch, we've got 5 minutes left, and there's 5 of you, so we're gonna have to go into lightning round with a quick answer on this one. The audience has heard you speak. They've heard your knowledge. They've heard what you've done, and they love what they've heard. Now, my question is, how can the audience check out your work and support your efforts? So, for example, NENJAH NYCIST said that his project is dropping on 7/7/7 or something like that. I think was it all 3 sevens?
The project is called 7/7/7 and it's dropping on 7/7.
Yep. July 7th.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's the website?
Welcome to 777.com.
Copy that. Jordan, how can they support you?
You can subscribe to my Substack. Goodness gracious. Thefangirl.substack.com, like all the other Substacks in the world. Except mine is better. Follow me on Instagram, Jordan Rene, as written. You see it above my head. And then Twitter is Jordan Said So, because I'm always right.
I'm loving it. Chris Walker.
Sure. Just follow URBANIME. It's urbanime.com. Same thing on Instagram, /URBANIME. And then on Twitter.
Actually, Chris, if you don't mind, spell out URBANIME for them just in case. Make it easy for them.
Sure. URBANIME. Again, that's URBANIME, URBANIME. So check us out there. If you go to the website, sign up for our mailing list, and you can get our culture zines that we call mixtapes. They're not music, they're metaphors, visual metaphors, but they're free, they're PDFs. You can download them, they're really interesting. So.
Okay, we got 3 people left in 3 minutes. Shawna, how do they support you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on BoomTag X, and that'll be on Instagram. I don't think I have anything else. And then also you can check out sodamonkeyent.com for just anything. You can just check out any of the stuff that I've created there, and I'll have new stuff up at some point. So there.
Mr. Harris.
All right, you can check me out at nstephenworks.com. I have a project out now with DC Comics called Represent. It's chapter 8. I'm working on a project now called Indigo Clan. The color indigo is at www.indigoclan.com. You can check out the books that I've been working on there. I did issues 2, 3, 4, and I'm working on issue 5 right now. And I have a project called I'm coming out in August, a 10-pager for an anthology called Octobriana, 50th anniversary. I'm not gonna get into who Octobriana is, but it's October combined with Brianna. So Octobriana, look her up, and you'll see what she is about. And that is
Steve. Do you have a Stephen Harris web page or Facebook or something like that?
Yeah.
In case people can't remember all 20 of your projects.
I am on Instagram at nstephenharris on Instagram and Facebook.
Alrighty. And for me, we talked a lot about music on this panel. So I do a weekly radio show called The Harlem Connection. Facebook, Instagram is The Harlem Connection. And what we do is we play music from all decades and all different genres, but everybody that we play somehow has to connect to the village of Harlem. And then once we play the music, we explain how. It's can be heard on WBAI.org. And if you have missed past episodes, we've been on since November, WBAI.org/archive, and you put in the Harlem Connection and you can listen. Every episode is different. Okay. I want to actually thank everybody who tuned in to listen. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank my son who's about to enter the camera here for letting daddy take time away from Father's Day but we're about to go out for dinner and get some ice cream. Thank you for everyone who tuned in to see this. And we have reached we've reached the 6 o'clock mark. So I'm going to stop it there. And thank you guys for everything. Please support these artists. They're so dope.
Thanks, everyone, for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, y'all. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.